right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to News Talk. News Talk with yours truly, the Anchorman. It's a pleasure to be back here with you. Please, as usual, I expect you to go ahead, hit your share button because I always come to you with very exciting information and education. So please do me the favor, hit the share button. For those of you watching by way of Facebook and YouTube, please let us quickly hit the share button. Very few people are here at the moment on Facebook in particular. So please do me the favor, hit the share button. I will be right back with you in a very few minutes. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once more, good evening and welcome to News Talk with Chris Ano, your Anchorman. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the storming of Buea. How many of you read about the storming of the Bastille? At the moment when La République du Cameroon thought peace and every form of normalcy was returning to the federal capital territory in Buea, AMBAZONIA restoration forces stormed the place and captured some of La République du Cameroon soldiers. And I understand there are casualties, and one of the most important among the casualties is the son to the former colonial Prime Minister Peter Mafani Musonge. I cannot bring you that image, but I'm sure many of you have seen the image. In the meantime, Take a look. That happened in Buea. That happened in Buea, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we need to fear no man for the roads. Yes. Life.
That's enough. When I come,
We got checkpoint.
come.
We got Buea life. Checkpoint life. We did it. Life. We got checkpoint life. We don't have roads. Now everybody got now so life. Now everybody road life. Now boy begin them. You can apply one spot. In this in this jam. Fearless. 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 Nobody road. Fearless.
All right, okay. I will be taking you back to this, but again, for the moment, I also like to remind you that there was an important visitor in Bamenda over the week, and that was the visitation of the U.S. ambassador. The U.S. ambassador to La République du Cameroon. You can find the image right there on your screen. The U.S. ambassador was in Bamenda. What did he go there to do, and what did he say? I will bring that to you, ladies and gentlemen. I will bring that to you. But the lead story in this broadcast is the decision by your interim government to ban all United Nations agencies from doing business in AMBAZONIA. That press statement was forwarded to those agencies 2 days ago, and I will be bringing you my monologue tonight based on that decision. So please, this is going to be very, very exciting. Go ahead, hit your share button. Let us quickly populate the platform. Let everyone who is out there who did not know the Anchorman will be coming live, please get the message. Hit your share button in the next 30 seconds. In the next 30 seconds, I will be back. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for that error. I didn't realize my audio was off. I guess I couldn't get the technician's signal, but some of you have been calling. I can acknowledge your call that you have been calling to let me know that the volume was off. Let me get back to what I said from the beginning of this. I said, we have officially severe ties with all United Nations agencies in Cameroon and in AMBAZONIA. Talking about those agencies that have anything to do with AMBAZONIA, the war going on in AMBAZONIA, including the UNDP, United Nations Development Program. We have sent a release, a statement to them, informing them accordingly, and they are very much aware of that. And this show is meant to come to you with an explanation to what we did and the reason for which we did that. But we will start in Buea, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. At the moment when La République du Cameroun thought that everything is over and normalcy is returning to AMBAZONIA, AMBAZONIA Restoration Forces came forth to demonstrate their bravery and courage and resilience by storming the Federal Capital Territory, Buea, and not only burning vehicles, as they will let you to know, but also capturing, ladies and gentlemen, in that exercise, some Cameroon police and the army. I have the pictures. Unfortunately, I can't bring you those pictures here, but that is exactly what happened, and they carried out this. They carried out these actions in protest, or to enforce the rampant disregard of ghost towns, Monday ghost towns, in the city of Buea and Fako in general. It was a wonderful act of bravery by the restoration fighters. And I think every AMBAZONIAN out there should be giving them some accolades, some praises to let them know that is what AMBAZONIANS have been looking for. That is what AMBAZONIANS have been looking for. Please, if the technician can put a slot in one of those footages from Buea, please. Let's take a look at it. Let the audience take a look at it. All right.
Unakam!
Mulika checkpoint! Mulika Buea live! Checkpoint live! Udade! Live! Mulika checkpoint live! Udanta road! Everybody go now so live! Everybody road live! Now boy begin them. You can apply one spot in this jam. Fearless! Fearless, and nobody road. Fearless. We need to fear no man for the road. Yes. Life.
Unakam!
Mulika checkpoint. Mulika Buea live. Checkpoint live. Udade. Live. Mulika checkpoint live. Udanta road. Everybody go now so live. Everybody road live.
Come on. We shoot anyone when they kill us, another killer. So we shoot.
Get move out, fire.
From today, if I go for it, don't come back. Peace of one of them, AMBAZONIA. One day.
You did.
And if I go come back one day,
You did.
AMBAZONIA, me come back. From Munya, don't come with them, come back.
Bumbo.
That's a guy to kill them.
What's it?
Supreme Commander with the whole Fako, Mount Lion one.
I have to get the roads. No be choice. Ungongo. Don't get it roads. Bombo for them. Tapiro against Bagot. Today?
Yeah. Oh. exchange. They don't burn motor. Buea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that was happening in Buea. That took place in Buea. That was Monday night. The brave and courageous restoration fighters of AMBAZONIA storming Buea, chasing out the courageous fighters of La République du Cameroon. They were nowhere to be found. They escaped in their numbers, and those who thought they could nurture the courage to approach the restoration fighters of AMBAZONIA were captured, ladies and gentlemen, captured red-handed. Again, I have some of those photographs that I'm not going to bring them to you here. At the moment, when La République du Cameroon wants the world to believe that, oh, it is getting over. You remember the colonial governor of Buea coming out and saying, we are going to terrorize the terrorists. We are going to terrorize the terrorists. Do you all remember that? Well, we are not terrorists, but you can see the courageous work of AMBAZONIA restoration fighters. Comrades, I have stated here again and again and again, and I will keep on doing so. If anybody, including those blacklists, because I could see their lamentation, that guy they called Nkonda Titus was out lamenting and biting his teeth and trying to say, oh, Amba is killing civilians. He wouldn't dare say that Amba is showing resilience and courage and bravery. No, he said Amba is killing civilians. Where were your soldiers? And how about Muja, the coward, the chief coward in Buea? He rushes to the scene of this incident. He waited until the event was over. He rushed to the scene and started shouting, oh, he came and Amba left. He couldn't dare step there while these guys were carrying on this action. Do you think it takes 5 minutes or only 10 or 20 minutes to stand there and wait for a car to get burned like the one you see there? Of course not. Muja lives up Bokwango, I believe. It takes only 5 minutes to drive to the scene of this incident. He couldn't dare nurture the courage to drive down to this location, but he waited until everything was over. He drove down saying, oh no, he came and Amba ran away. There is no courageous person left in La République du Cameroon. Not in their soldiers, not in Muja, not in anyone there. Would you imagine that these guys who are barely trained in warfare, who descend into, the center of the city, arrest defaulters, ghost town defaulters, and burn these cars? In La République du Cameroon's army that we are learning is everywhere inside the city of Kumba. In fact, I understand that this happened at one of their checkpoints inside Buea. This happened, ladies and gentlemen, at a military checkpoint inside Buea. Where were they? Where were they? Well, let me warn the rest of you, especially those of you who want to defy ghost towns in Buea. 11 February is coming. We'll learn you guys are also planning for the so-called mountain race. I guess some of you have forgotten what happened last year. We are not relenting, we are not blinking in this effort to free AMBAZONIA. Let me once more assure everybody in La République du Cameroon, the war is not over till it is over. We are still far away, very far away from the last man standing, if we shall ever get there. I don't think we are ever getting there, because La République wants the world to believe that they have killed most of the fighters, most of our soldiers. No. We still have some of the best of them out there, like those you see there in Buea. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the city captive. We still have them. So La République du Cameroon should tighten its belt and know that this war is going to get only to a logical end, not on their own terms, but in the terms, the wishes of the AMBAZONIAN people. We will get there. We will get there. And I know the grace of God and the favor of God will continue to reign upon us and in this struggle. The only thing I ask every Ambazonian out there is that we need to support the courage and the bravery of these guys standing in the front lines to sacrifice their lives for our own cause. Every Ambazonian, please, every Ambazonian. And I talk about 11 February. 11 February is coming. We are launching Operation Stop 11 February. Operation Stop 11 February. We are launching that fundraiser campaign on Sunday, February the 4th. February the 4th. We are launching it on that day. So please, and those of you don't remember that February the 4th was the day that a lot of people pulled away from us, seceded from the marriage, if there was actually one anyway. But I will talk about that later. But my appeal to every Ambazonian out there who still believe and dream for a free country is to please join us on February the 4th. That is this coming Sunday. On this TV set, we're going to be raising some funds to stop 11 February on our territory, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and we want every Ambazonian to have the opportunity to step out on Sunday. Pick your phone, call the lines, call the numbers to support stopping 11 February in Ambazonia. It's a day that we don't want to remember. And on that Sunday, I'm going to be bringing you a very special presentation on the importance of this, of stopping 11 February in our territory. So please join us on Sunday. I think these guys, these courageous guys, will be very happy to know that we are rallying around to support them to do even better, even better. And for those of you in K-Town, Kumba, who are raising against all odds from the colonial divisional officers in Kumba, who are shutting down your shops, breaking down your tables, we want you to know, we have not forgotten about you in Kumba. We know the people in K-Town, they do everything to respect ghost towns. But when a lot of people do come around, colonial officials come with their gun-toting army, the people have no choice but to go stand by and get their shops open. And some have tried to do so, and when the colonial officers leave, they come back, they go back and shut their shops. But I also learned that when the colonial officials have discovered that, they will leave, come back, and when they come back and find out that your shop is shut down, they bill you 5,000 or 25,000 to pay. That is what we have learned. I can assure you that will stop. That will stop. No matter how long it takes, we will bring an end to it. And the colonial officers in Kumba, we are telling you, you are raising against time, sirs. You are raising against time. We will stop your crooked and fraudulent activities against the people, the civilian population in Kumba. I can assure you that. So please, once more, I want to appeal to every one of you out there. Join us on Sunday. Join us on Sunday. Let us raise special funds for Operation Stop 11th February in Ambazonia. Now, you will all recall that from the beginning of this crusade for independence, we ban all Cameroon official activities, events in our territory, because if we proclaim we have restored our independence, we have restored our country, another country, we cannot allow another country, La République du Cameroon in that matter, to be coming back into our territory and organizing so-called national events. Not 11 February, not 20th May, not mountain race, not their elections, be it local or national. We are totally against anything La République du Cameroon in our territory. And we are ready to face them. So please, do me the favor. I see the numbers are still low. I don't want to bring the monologue onto you. I see over 100 people. So go ahead and please and hit your share button. Go ahead and hit your share button. And while you hit your share button, I want to take you to Bamenda. I'd like to take you to Bamenda, ladies and gentlemen, where the U.S. ambassador, was in Bamenda recently to witness for himself the situation in Bamenda. I will be right back in a few minutes. In a few seconds, don't touch your remote. Hit your share button. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying put. The U.S. ambassador was in Bamenda recently to observe for himself what is going on. What is going on in Bamenda in the midst of the war that was declared against us by La République du Cameroon on November 30th, 2017. The ambassador addressed the population of Bamenda, including some stakeholders in the city, and I would like to bring you some of the things that he said in Bamenda, And this is what I am getting this story from timescapemagazine.com, which is published by John Akuro. The U.S. ambassador to Cameroon, Christopher J. Lamora, visited Bamenda, one of the chief towns in the former United Nations Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroon, the report says. That was last Thursday, January the 25th. He said, as part of his efforts to understand the situation on the ground, and to promote a peaceful resolution to the ongoing armed conflict in the restive region. Mr. Lamora met with various stakeholders, including government officials, religious leaders, civil society, representatives, and journalists to listen to their perspectives and concerns. He said he was learning a lot about the realities and challenges faced by the people of Bamenda and the surrounding areas, and that this would help him to formulate and recommend U.S. policy towards Cameroon. Now, quoting the ambassador, the reporter says, the ambassador engaged frequently with members of government, members of civil society, etc., in Yaoundé and elsewhere in the country. But nothing beats coming and talking to people here, and more importantly, listening to people here, the ambassador said. The ambassador expressed his satisfaction that in the areas he personally visited, life seemed, according to him, to be going on normally, and that people had found ways to cope with the situation. The United States, he said, absolutely stands for rights. Now, I need you to note that. The United States, the ambassador said, absolutely stands for rights. And we stand for peace too, he said. And we want both, the ambassador added. We want there to be peace throughout all of Cameroon. And we want all Cameroonians to be able to enjoy the rights that they have as Cameroonian citizens. He reiterated the U.S. position that the only way to end the conflict is through a peaceful and inclusive dialogue. A peaceful and inclusive dialogue that addresses the root causes and grievances of the southern Cameroon's population, the ambassador said. He added that the U.S. had been consistent and clear on this matter for over 7 years, and that it would continue to support any efforts that lead to a lasting solution. Mr. Lamora, the ambassador, condemned the actions of some individuals living in the United States who have been involved in fostering or financing or expressing support for violence in Cameroon. He said the U.S. Department of Justice had arrested, charged, and sentenced several people for engaging in activities that violated U.S. law and contributed to the insecurity in Cameroon. The ambassador said the U.S. would not tolerate the use of its territory as a safe haven for promoting violence. It is unacceptable, the ambassador said, to use the United States as a safe haven to engage in promotion of violence. We have said from the beginning that it is unacceptable, and we have acted on that. End of quote. He said he hoped that his visit would help to build trust and confidence between the U.S. and Cameroon, and that he looked forward to continuing the dialogue and cooperation with all parties. Our position, he said, I'm quoting him now, our position is clear as regards what we want the outcome to be. We want the outcome to be peace and the ability of the people of Northwest and Southwest to return to the lives they had prior to this crisis. Again, I take that. Our position is clear as regards what we want the outcome to be. We want the outcome to be peace and the ability of the people of the Northwest and Southwest to return to the lives they had prior to the crisis. He said the U.S. government was committed to supporting the development and reconstruction of the affected areas in collaboration with the Cameroonian government and the local population. He said the U.S. had carefully studied the evolution of what many people refer to as green, yellow, and red zones, indicating the level of security and stability in different locations. He said the U.S. wanted to ensure that any development projects would have a beneficial and sustainable impact on the people, and that they would not be destroyed by violence or instability. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. ambassador was saying in Bamenda, the U.S. is not in for any project, for any reconstruction until the war is over, because they don't want to go building roads, they don't want to go building anything, and then only to be shut down, only for them to be shut down. I am being joined here by Comrade Jackson, and I'm hoping that the rest of my panel will be joining me really soon. We will take on this before I bring you my monologue for today. Comrade Jackson, it's a great pleasure to have you back here, sir. I hope you are having a great day out there.
We are having some good time here. The weather is a little bit compromising today.
Wonderful. All right. I believe you have listened to this statement coming from, this report coming from the visit of the U.S. ambassador to Bamenda. Now, he mentioned a number of things there. He speaks as a politician, as a diplomat that he is. Now, on the one hand, you will think that the ambassador is saying that uh, we are not for a free and independent Ambazonia. But he says he wants the root causes of this problem to be heard against any form of suggestion that they don't believe in the Amazonian struggle.
Yes, most of the time, and when you have these diplomats go out, um, for the most part, what you should be listening is what they are not saying, not what they are saying. Because when they have diplomatic relationships with countries, and especially the host country, they are very, very skillful with the language and the things they say. And you pointed out very clearly that from his language, he wants people, they want to protect freedom and they want a negotiated settlement to this. At the same time, he's talking of how they've been arresting people in the United States. You and I know that people that were arrested in the United States is because they violated the United States laws. It is not because of self-determination, and it is not because of what is happening in Cameroon. It is because in the event of doing supporting what was happening in Cameroon, some UN, the United States, I want everybody listening to me to understand that they violated United States laws. And United States is one of the countries that stand for self-determination and freedom of individuals. First Amendment. These things are enshrined in the constitutions and the Constitution of the United States. And I know that that is the one thing you cannot take away from United States citizen. So, listening to the United States ambassador, we understand that he is in a difficult position, but then he has to speak as a diplomat because he knows his listening audience, he knows who are watching. But the fact is that he made certain declarations very clear that they are not going to do construction or reconstructions until they are sure that there is stability, which in effect, he understands that there is no stability in that part of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. We are also being joined by Dr. Fidelis Tienjo, who is our secretary here for Health and Social Services. Dr. Fidelis, I want to believe you did listen to the report on the ambassador's visit to Bamenda. What would you draw from the statements of the ambassador in Bamenda? Because the propaganda machine out there from the Black Legs and from La République du Cameroon would be, oh, the ambassador is warning those in the USA, the activists, the separatists in the USA, and telling them, reminding them, some have been locked up, and if you're not careful, more will be locked up. Is that what you got from the ambassador?
Actually, that is no, a resounding no, Comrade Chris, that if that is the impression people are having, Bill, or what they're inferring from his speech, then they are absolutely wrong. They are on the wrong side of business. The ambassador, a U.S. ambassador, is a diplomat, and he is representing the United States interests in Cameroon and La République. So you see, they always say that diplomacy is done in private, not in the public. So his public pronouncements were very accurate and in line with what they think about what is going on. But what our black legs do not understand, when our comrades were arrested and locked up, they went out spreading wrong information, deceiving the people, lying to Cameroonians and Ambazonians about the reason why these people or our comrades were arrested. is because of the fact that they broke the United States law. It's not that they were not arrested for being supporters of Ambazonian struggle. They were arrested because there was some level of law. They did not were not able to obey the laws of the United States in certain aspects. And in that case, if I were to be in their shoe, if I'm punished for that, then I agree. But for the fact that they were ambassadors is not the reason why they were arrested. That is something that people need to learn and know about this. And before the blacklegs, they go around propagating information that is not right. So the ambassador made it very clear that peace, inclusive dialogue, are things that they need. These are the facets that the Cameroonian government needs to utilize in order to bring peace to northwest and southwest of the Ambazonia. So, if this inclusive dialogue is something that is very important, and that is what La Republique does not want to do. They only want to go around spreading information on how things should go back to normalcy when they have not done their own due diligence to bring that peace until they call Ambazonians, the leaders and the people that be, to talk with them and have an inclusive dialogue with Ambazonians, then there will be no peace. Another thing that is very important is about the reconstruction that they move around, false information in a broke country. First of all, the Cameroon government is broke at this moment. They are
Absolutely.
barely surviving. They are broke and they cannot reconstruct anything in Ambazonia. So they are appealing for international organizations and foreign partners to help them for the reconstruction. How can you go and reconstruct a war zone? They have not declared any peace. They have not withdrawn their barbarians from Ambazonia, and they want Ambazonia to be reconstructed. How do they expect things to be reconstructed when you have not taken the necessary steps that will ensure peaceful reconstruction or whatever that needs to be done in Ambazonia? And whoever told them, deceived them that they can go with that story of reconstruction to convince die-hard Ambazonia has really failed, because Ambazonia is going to be built when our independence will be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you. Comrade Jackson, I think this is very important. You are the security chief here at the interim government. I think it is very critical and very important. We remind Ambazonians out there that there are still U.S. sanctions against La République du Cameroon in place. Cameroon has not been readmitted to AGOA. Cameroon, the military support that they were receiving for Boko Haram is not being given. And so it is important Cameroonians and Ambazonians know that the platitudes that are being sent out there by the ambassador in the, looking like they are, siding with the government, that is absolutely not the case, because I think if the U.S. was fraternizing or compromising with a dictatorship in Cameroon, they would have long lifted the AGOA sanction and maybe restore aid for the fighting of terrorism, which they use in fighting and killing Ambazonians, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. You see, there is a sense of desperation coming from La Republique and the Blacklegs, and this desperation has caused them to weaponize whatever little information that they have access to. Because if the words of the ambassador were to be taken to the bank, then there should have been a commitment to support them in their failed reconstruction that is going on, which is not the case. It's not happening, and there is no meaningful action, support, uh, as before, just as you rightly said, with AGOA and the military cooperation that they were sending in hardware to support the La Republique government. All these things were stopped, and up to date, they are still not being supported as they used to be. So, I started by saying that they are desperate. They are desperate for some little iota of good news to weaponize and trying to make sense out of it. As a famous Lapiro used to say, "Mumu the lab and Diba the tegi the go." So they continue to bask themselves in this unrealistic world, hoping that this thing is just going to walk past them like that. No, it's not. It's just continue to face, just going to continue to face them and look them straight in the eyes, so that they should, whatever. I'm not going to listen and even react to the propaganda that is coming from there, because these people have proven that they can they can stand the test of time to tell the truth to the people of Cameroon. And these people have been beaten to silence, to submission, because they can't even open their mouth. They know the truth. They know the truth. So until we see the United States doing some meaningful things back in Cameroon, then we know that what the ambassador was saying is making some sense. But as of now, nothing.
Now, the ambassador said, and I quote, the United States absolutely stands for rights. The United States absolutely stands for rights. And we
Correct.
stand for peace. And we want both. We want there to be peace throughout all of Cameroon. And we want all Cameroonians to be able to enjoy the rights they may have as Cameroonian citizens. Somebody would say he is referring to Cameroon, not referring to justice in AMBAZONIA. Dr. Atienjo, how will you respond to that?
Well, with all fairness, I would say that the ambassador is a politician, he's a diplomat, and he actually selected his wisely to please the audience, to please the host that received him in Bab. And one thing that is very clear is uh, the misunderstanding that our people have when it comes to the struggle or the Ambazonian struggle. So justice is very important. It's a very important aspect of reconciliation, or a very important aspect of peace talks. So the ambassador actually explained to them that the rights of Cameroonians, as well as the right, the right of Cameroonians belongs to them. They need to give the rights of Cameroonians so that they can live peacefully in in the country. And what does that mean? It means that the Ambazonians have the right for self-determination. And that has to be taken into consideration in any peace talks or any conference or any dialogue or inclusive dialogue that is arranged. So in that case, that is justice served for the people. So there are no ways, there are no two ways out in this situation. If the ambassador was talking about the rights, it means that people have the right to live their life freely. We have this freedom of speech, of association, freedom of independence. You can declare and make your own statement, live your own life in peace, in your own comfortable zone. For Ambazonians, our comfortable zone is Ambazonia, northwest and southwest, which were divided politically, but we consider Ambazonia as one. So it is the right of Ambazonians to live as an independent country. It's the right of Ambazonians to live peacefully. It is justice for Ambazonians to pursue their right of independence and also pursue their right of living in peace. So that is justice. That is the way I put it. I look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's get to another subject now. I believe that the ambassador would have listened to our take on this. All Ambazonians, the one piece, of course, Ambazonians want peace. They want peace in the territory, not peace with one Cameroon. And I believe the ambassador has received enough messages to this effect. I know the day will come. The day will come, they will acknowledge that. And in fact, he made mention of this about all that he has heard about the red and the white and the black zones and so on and so forth. He has also learned about the flag, the two-star flag of 1960. 1961, I mean to say, with the Federal Republic of Cameroon. And he has also learned of 1953, when we left the Eastern House of Nigeria to become the former British Southern Cameroons. We had our peace, we had our rights, but the moment we joined La République du Cameroon, that peace and those rights were stolen away from us, and that is all. That's all we are asking for now. If they had not declared war on November 30th, 2017, we will not be at war today. We will not be fighting to save ourselves. And I believe one of these days, the position of the U.S. government towards Ambazonia for a free and independent country is going to change. It has changed in so many other circumstances in different locations. But I'd like to take all of you now back to Buea to get comrades your take on the events in Buea last Monday evening. Comrade Jackson, again, you are the security chief here. La République du Cameroon has been preaching this gospel of no mercy. And for quite a while now, many thought nothing was happening inside Buea and Ghost Town was being defied until these guys, they show up last Monday evening. They storm the city. I'm not talking about the outskirts of Buea, the inner city, the core of the city. In fact, I understand that this happened at one of the checkpoints inside the city of Buea. And can you imagine what is going on in the minds of politicians and security operatives in La République du Cameroon at this moment? Comrade Jackson.
Yes, Chris. You see, this again. This is happening at close range with the visit of the ambassador to Bamenda. So you see, the speech in Bamenda is directly telling everybody to understand that this place is still a war zone. Because you imagine that Buea that has
exactly, not cutting you short, but to amplify the point, when he says the U.S. is not ready to carry out any construction or any project anywhere, not in the northern zone or southern zone, he is saying that we don't want to do anything that will be short-lived. Yeah, go on.
Yes. If you listen to those empty-minded influencers in Cameroon, they said that Buea is quiet. To the surprise of everybody and even me, you saw how Buea just erupted, this is a statement telling everybody to understand that it doesn't mean that an area is quiet. This is still an active war and genocide area, the area of the Buea and its vicinity. Do not venture to do anything stupid there, because these boys are there and they are armed. As you can see, there were some civilians that did not adhere to the ghost town, and their property were damaged. It's not something that I will sit here and be happy about, but it's something we have told everybody that the first person to take care of your security is yourself before any other individual. So, what is happening in Buea is a clear testimony to the fact that we should not look at how quiet the river is. We should understand that that river is still very, very deep.
Right.
And I will tell you that this is going to make La Republique and the other naysayers, they have to go back to the drawing board, because if this is happening in Buea the way it did, well, it means there is a sleeping hook lying somewhere and everywhere.
Dr. Tinjo, what is your take there?
Well, I just want to add my voice to what Chairman Jackson said. This message that we are watching at this moment, what happened in Buea is a clear indication that the entire Ambazonia is not safe, is a war zone. And those pundits who feel that things are getting better and normalcy is returning to our major cities or to Ambazonia, they should see this as an example, because this is not the first time it's happening, Comrade Chris. Remember the mountain race
Right.
explosions, that what happened? You never knew that that was going to happen in Buea. And we even had some people in Buea, the Thomases in Buea. On that day, they said, now we know that there's a revolution. That is the first time that made them to understand, to come to the realization that, okay, Ambazonia is at war. There's a war zone. So our people are being deceived on daily basis by these politicians who sit in Yaoundé and make noise in their offices, telling people, deceiving people about normalcy. Normalcy is not going to come to Ambazonia until we are our independence is restored. And our the La Republic should be thinking now to come up with a new way of doing this, because they have done everything that they can possibly do, but it is still very difficult for them to understand that places that have been quiet for some months are erupting at this moment. And this also should send a message to places like Limbe, where life is, people think that Mondays or ghost town should not be respected. Places like Tico, places should take note that the fact that a place is quiet or has been quiet for some time does not mean that there are not people. We are watching you. We are watching every activity that is taking place in every town, in every village, every town, every city in Ambazonia. And when that time comes, when the right time comes, we will strike. And you see what is happening, Boya. That is it. It's unfortunate that there's some innocent people were killed in this situation, or they encountered pain or as a result of these. But it's unfortunate because the message has gone out wide and clear. People should not go and do normal business on Monday. It is a ghost town and it must be respected.
You are very
People need to
right,
respect.
and to those, you are very right, and to those innocent people, I said they choose to die. They choose to
Yes.
die because again and again we have warned. Do not think you can defy ghost towns forever. Do not think if there is relative tranquility going on certain Mondays, that is going to be forever. Please, Ambazonians, listen to us. We are telling you, and Kumba should take particular note. Kumba should take particular note. Those towns will remain revered throughout the length and breadth of this struggle. And so when you don't see any action taking place today or tomorrow, next week, you may see it and it will come in a surprising manner as did in Buea. Those who died in Buea, those vehicles burnt in Buea, the people choose to put themselves in harm's way to face that consequence. But let me talk about something here, comrade, in relation to that. I think one place where this thing hit home really, really seriously was the fact that for the first time, a colonial divisional officer for La République du Cameroon was killed in this Buea incident. And not just a colonial divisional officer for La République du Cameroon, one of those families at the forefront that has been promoting this war and telling us, oh, lay down your arms and go to the DDROs. I'm talking about the families of the former colonial Prime Minister Peter Mafani Musonge. One of those who was killed, I learned, was one of his sons. Not his immediate sons, but I learned the brother's son or something like that. He was killed in the course of this attack invasion in Buea. His vehicle burned and he himself killed. I don't want to show you his images because they don't look great, but this is the person that I'm talking about here. I'd like to ask the both of you, comrades, what do you think the family of Peter Musonge will be thinking when they look at this? I understand that this guy was a colonial officer in Yaoundé, and he was visiting Buea for a funeral of one of his own, sisters or brothers, and happened to meet his own demise. He was driving in Buea on Ghost Town Day, trying to defy the Ghost Town instructions, and he met his Waterloo, and now he lies at the mortuary with his sister. And Peter Mosonge, I don't know what he is thinking, but I'd like to ask you, what do you think is going through the mind of Peter Mafani Mosonge when this thing hits this close home to him? Jackson, please, I'll start with you.
Yes. So this is just one case like any other case from those of them who have escaped and are residing in Yaoundé, and they're preaching normalcy across from Yaoundé. And sometimes when you fool yourself for so many times or for so long, or you tell a lie for so long, you tend to believe that is true, because they have preached that everything is normal, and they preach against the ghost town. So they think that, all right, let me go and just defy the ghost town, because when you speak so much about something, you become acquainted with it, and they think that is normal. So that is what happened. Now they're using him today as a guinea pig, to tell the rest of the family members and other southern Cameroonians that have taken refuge in La Republique and thinking that everything is normal. He is going to be a guinea pig right now and a case study. And so many of them that did not have his demise and were able to return to Yaoundé, and will be telling the rest of the people that, yes, we know that is what is going on. So the family, yes, they're going to come to reality that the lies they've been telling people is hitting home, is at home now. And when it's at home, the feeling is different. And I would not wish this to happen to anybody in my entire life. But when you sit and you lie to yourself, and these are the direct consequences of things like this, and they should be rolling their eyes right now that where did we go wrong, and why.
Dr. Tenjo, your take on this. What do you think is going on in the mind of Peter Mafani Mosonge? And again, taking note that this is the very first colonial officer that has been brought down by restoration fighters in Ambazonian territory.
No. I will correct that. No, that's not the first.
Oh, there was one in the Batibo from the very onset.
Yes.
All right, yes.
Okay. You see, what has been happening? Politicians, black legs from Ambazonia, who are feeding from the crumbs that are falling off the tables in Yaoundé, have often gone to Yaoundé and deceived and lied to La République that things are fine in their constituencies, everything is doing good, and this is. What has happened to this young man is an example, is a lesson for them to learn, because they've been going around with all this impression that things are normal and deceiving themselves. And this is why this guy had to come out there to defy the ghost town, because he must have said, you know what, my uncle was a former prime minister, and we don't know how they got their way. Maybe he bought a way to go to Enam, completed from Enam, and is appointed a divisional officer somewhere. But you do not, this should teach a lesson to them, to know that nobody is safe when it comes to the war. The war in Ambazonia is a war that was declared on us, and not even La Republique is safe. Not Ambazonia, even Ambazonians are not safe here. Black legs are not safe. No matter where you go, this is a war that will continue to a logical end, which will be the restoration of our independence. So, what is going on in the mind of Mafani now is that, I thought that I was lying for innocent people to die, or people who do not have a status to die. But now it has happened to me. I now come to the realization that there's a real struggle in Ambazonia. That is what is going on in his mind. Thank you.
But do you think other politicians whining and dining with La République du Cameroon will learn any lesson from this?
Absolutely no. They are not going to learn a lesson from this. But they will only be able to realize themselves when they are caught in the net. You see, like what has happened to Mafani Musonge, that is something that I don't think he has ever thought that this could happen to him or a relative of his. So it is only when it happens, when you are in the net, then you will come to that realization that, okay, this is what is going on. These people are cursed, especially our the politicians, the blacklegs. If you look at what the audios or the picture or the post that SOS Mike Fusi has been putting out in these days, he has launched a war against blacklegs. And remember, once you are a blackleg, you always remain to be blackleg. You sit in the middle of a rope and be dangling there because you have disappointed your people, and the people that you have lied about them and to the people that you are supporting will also see you as a blackleg, because if you can deceive your own people, if you can lie on your own people, it means that you also lie to them. So a blackleg remains a blackleg. So that is why I'm saying that these people have sworn to do whatever they are doing to survive, but they will only learn when they will be in their own, when they will be caught in the net. These people don't learn at all. They don't. Simple.
Comrade Chris, are you there?
Comrade, sorry about that. I see Mama G has joined, but before I get to her, Comrade Jackson, we have so many of these sycophants and blacklegs in our territory, from Momo to Nkambe to the Mongo. I'm talking about all these so-called politicians, parliamentarians, senators, and the elite. Do you think they are going to learn anything from the killing of this guy in Buea by the restoration fighters?
If anybody has not learned up to now, then they're not going to learn. Because I've said everybody should take their own security into their hands. When you continue to blow that grammar, blow that noise out there, you should be aware that you are responsible for your own actions, especially when they come close to you. So maybe one day, as it continues to hit home, they will come to the realization. But I know that some of them are aware, because that's why they run and they're hiding in Yaoundé and other places. Eventually, but when they think that it's quiet and then they come out and things like this happen, then they regret. So to me, if they have not learned up to today, because this is about 7 years going, then I don't think they're going to learn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take a brief 1 second break out, and when we come back, I will have Mama G weigh in here, and then I will head to my monologue, which is the main subject of this broadcast for the day. right, ladies and gentlemen, I am being joined by the one and only Mama Jill, my Gertrude Kisop, we call her. Mama Jill, I'd like you to weigh in on your take on what happened in Buea, the bravery of our restoration fighters. If you can, because this is important because La République du Cameroon wants the world to believe that it was all over. It was getting all over until the brave and courageous fighters of Ambazonia showed up in Buea. They did not show up. La République du Cameroon did not show up to get to battle with them. Not even Moja. Moja was courageous enough to show up. Moja waited until it was all over and stormed the scene and said, Amba ran away. When he showed up. What is your take on that, please?
Oh my God. I am so proud of the guys who executed that mission. The thing is that for the longest time, nothing has been happening in Buea out of respect. And these people begin to think that we have given up, that they have Buea. And so the people, even the citizens there, started acting with impunity, going in and coming out, not respecting Ghost Town, and they've been warned. And then this happened in a grand way, in a grand style. And this was so important because it hit home. It hit important people or a family of an important person in the southern region and also in the government of La République, because they are the ones who are fostering the idea that everything is fine. They can go and come. They go and tell lies. They go to Yaoundé and say everything is fine. And meanwhile, the people on the streets are suffering. But because they can enjoy, they can go and come. That's why they act in this manner. But the important thing is that even if activities have not been going on, it happened this time in a grand style.
Yes.
It happened in a grand style and it hurts the individual who has a voice. So this is his time. This is his time of Musonge. For Musonge to re-examine himself. They have a group of people who have agreed to come together and defile all instructions and pay people to do the wrong things. They encourage people like Munja to do the wrong things, killing people. Now it is at his doorstep. Let's see what he would do. Is he going to still say it's the right thing? Is he going to feel the pain? This is somebody in his own family, very close to him. What is he going to do? The gauntlet has been put down. This is the time. He has to go now and tell his people, this is serious. We have been playing around with it. It is serious. It has landed at my doorsteps. My own son has been killed.
Well, that is it. Mama G, you stay put in there. You stay put in there. At this moment, I am going to go to the main subject of the day, which is my monologue and the severing of ties. The severing of ties between Ambazonia and all United Nations agencies, both in La République du Cameroon and in Ambazonia. I'm referring to those who are in any form of business in Ambazonia. Please don't touch your remote. I'm going to be right back. And when I come back, I'll come to you with that monologue. But before I take you to the monologue, I'd like you to listen to this. Please listen to this. Listen to this. Technician slot. That's okay. That is it. Listen, please.
Terror attacks launched by Hamas against Israel, with over 250 people taken hostage. For all those affected, these have been 100 days of heartache and anguish. Nothing can justify the deliberate killing, injuring, kidnapping of civilians, the use of sexual violence against them, or the indiscriminate launching of rockets towards civilian targets. I once again demand the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. In the interim, they must be treated humanely and allowed to receive visits and assistance from the Red Cross. Last week in Davos, I had another moving meeting with families of hostages, and in this case, even some former hostages themselves. Since the beginning, I have maintained close contact with Qatari and Egyptian authorities on the efforts for their release. And yesterday, I received from the Israeli mission a list of many of the remaining hostages. It was also reported yesterday that Israel is proposing a 2-month pause in hostilities in exchange for a phased release of all remaining hostages.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the United Nations Secretary General addressing the situation in the Gaza Strip, calling for an end to that conflict, and that is very much related to the talking point that I bring to you today, because the situations are very, very close. And why the United Nations has paid so much attention to a 1-month-old conflict, they have done nothing, zero, to what is happening in AMBAZONIA. Last week, OCHA, a United Nations agency based in Buea, convened 2 consultation meetings aimed at ensuring security guarantees for OCHA and 3 other United Nations agencies, including UNICEF, UNHCR, and WPF, for a safe passage to Mengele, BLM County. The objective was to conduct a situation assessment in the county over the years starting from the outbreak of the conflict. The interim government of AMBAZONIA and the restoration fighters maintain cooperative relations with OCHA regarding the security and the safety of its humanitarian activities and staff in AMBAZONIA. However, we made the decision last week to sever these relations, not only with OCHA, but with all United Nations agencies in both Cameroon and AMBAZONIA. These decisions stem from the perception that the United Nations approach primarily revolves around providing aid, disregarding the core demands of the Ambazonian people for justice and peace. Ambazonians are wary of what they perceive as pacification efforts by the United Nations and its agencies aimed at resolving the conflict in a manner that favors the restoration of control by the Republic of Cameroon. Instead of mere handouts, Ambazonians demand justice and peace in a territory that is not a disaster zone, but a war zone. The continuous provision of aid, symbolized by bread, bananas, and paracetamol, over 7 years has failed to address the root causes of the conflict or facilitate meaningful negotiation for peace. With over 700,000 displaced persons, most of whom reside in La République du Cameroun towns and cities, Ambazonians believe the United Nations should focus on its humanitarian efforts on these populations, rather than encroaching on Ambazonian hinterlands, which are under the control of the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Consequently, the AROF will not facilitate safe passage for any UN personnel and trucks into Ambazonian communities, directing the United Nations instead to concentrate its efforts on the displaced population in neighboring areas like Chang, Mbunda, and the rest. The conclusion drawn is that in this conflict, The United Nations and its agencies have aligned themselves with the oppressor, La République du Cameroon, rather than serving as an impartial mediator. In meetings with OCHA the other day, the United Nations reluctance or their reluctance to acknowledge the situation in Ambazonia as war, or call it war or conflict, underscores its failure to act as an honest and neutral arbiter. This failure is reflected in the United Nations' minimal attention to the Ambazonian conflict compared to its swift action in other global conflicts like in Gaza and Russia, Ukraine. While the United Nations could leverage La République du Cameroon's commitment to a ceasefire and negotiate settlement, it has thus far failed to do so. Consequently, Amazonia has decided not to grant any United Nations agency, including the UNDP, access to its hinterlands. The way forward, as stipulated by Ambazonia, entails a ceasefire as a precondition for any UN agency's access to Amazonian territory. Failure to adhere to this condition means that all United Nations agencies travel in Ambazonia at their own risk, a directive that has been communicated to the Ambazonia restoration fighters. In essence, Ambazonia's stance reflects a deep-seated frustration with the United Nations approach to the conflict and a firm commitment to pursuing justice and peace on its own terms. The ball now lies in the United Nations court to reassess its strategies and engage meaningfully with the aspirations of the people of Ambazonia for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. That is my talking point, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I bring in my panel. Mama Gio, let me start with you again. Now, we had this meeting with OCHA in Buea. OCHA is a UN humanitarian organization that is based in Buea. They kind of supervise all humanitarian efforts by the United Nations agencies where there are conflicts and there are disasters. So OCHA have been in Buea for years, I think at least 6 years that I know. And for those 6 years, we collaborated with them. When they were going to any hinterlands in Ambazonia, they will call us and say, hey, can you guarantee our safe passage into these communities? And we will say yes, and then call the restoration fighters in those communities to let them know OCHA was coming in with aid for the communities. But this time when they came, when they called us, we sat down, we listened to them, and we said to them that at this time, we are no longer interested in OCHA and any UN agency delivering bread, paracetamol, and sardine to our people. Mama G, you were in that meeting, and you made the case very strongly that the time is past for the United Nations to think that our people need only bread. Give us your take on that one now. Oh, I think you are muted there. Let the technician bring your audio on. Go on, please. Go on.
Can you hear me?
Go on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Good. Yeah, permit me to go back a little backwards.
Sure.
I used to be the chairperson for MESA. And therefore, I managed all those agencies that came to the northern zone. Everybody who came to the northern zone would call me, I'm going to Bali, and I asked them, you need to give me your name, what vehicle you're going with, how many people you're going with, what you're going to do. And then when I got that information, then I would tell the defense chair in that area to make arrangement for them for safe passage. And I did that. They went through without any problem. But I started to pull back because there were incidents where the boys had seized their vehicles, and when they came to me and said I should help, the equipment that they told me were in the vehicle did not indicate to me what it is that they said they were going to do.
What was in the vehicle?
That is why
I'm hearing that for the first
they
time.
yes, they had some equipment, survey equipment, and some. The woman was telling, these are very expensive equipment. These are very expensive, and I was like, why do they need them here? We managed. I begged those boys. There were 2 cases. There was one in Tuba. There was one in Mendankwe. I managed to negotiate and bring those vehicles. Now, with that in mind, when this woman came the other day, that's why I asked her, what assistance are you coming to give? You need to tell us what it is that you have to give, and we will tell you where that assistance is needed. You cannot come and bring food to people who are in a village. I told her we are an agrarian society. We plant our food. Food is plentiful. If you want to give us something, let us know. We will direct you. And she could not even answer. She was just telling me what their agency does. I don't want to know what your agency does. I've already heard. But what aid do you want? How are you going to carry food to people who grow their own food? They don't need your food. How are you going? We know places where I told her we have internally displaced people. Those are the people, she said, they provide housing and food and medication. I said, okay, then we have internally displaced people, and she would not. And then they suddenly say their Zoom is going out just so that they could run because they could not answer the hard questions. I got them. I'm very pleased that I did.
Well, again, you were in that meeting, and in that meeting, you see, in that meeting, they were really struggling. I mean, they could not refer to this struggle as a war. These 2 words, they avoided it. And when we asked them, remember what the response was, where we cannot call it war, we cannot call it conflict, we are apolitical. Can you imagine that in a war actually declared November 30th, 2017, predicated upon which more than 30,000 people have been killed, and the United Nations officials cannot call it war, cannot call it a conflict? Now, does it now surprise anybody why the United Nations cares about Gaza Strip, cares about Ukraine, and cares less about the killing of 30,000 people in Ambazonia? Mama G, back to you.
Yes, the thing is that there's a war. Paul Biya, the president of La République de Cameroon, said we are at war. And my take is that from that day, from the day that Biya declared war on us, he established the fact that there are 2 countries. There is nobody who is going to declare war to itself. Nobody, Biya cannot get up one day and say, I declare war on Douala. No, you declare war on somebody who is not part of you. By virtue of the fact that he declared war on us, it means we are different people. We are not part of La République. And that being said, the United Nations is aware of the fact that Biya declared war on us. If they themselves cannot acknowledge the thing that Biya said, it's not like we are the ones manufacturing it. This is what Biya said.
That's why I'm quoting the date here. That's what I'm
Yes,
quoting the date,
yes.
November
So
30th,
why would the
2017
United
at the Yaoundé airport.
Thank you. Why then would the United Nations refuse to acknowledge? It is because they do not want to provide what we need. These United Nations are the ones who brought two flags, two
Correct.
maps to present to Bia that these are two countries. We have landmarks. We have big pillars which are visible everywhere that shows that we are two countries. Biya himself declared war on the other part, that the United Nations brought this map to show that we are two different countries. Then how can the United Nations refuse to acknowledge that fact or to deal with that fact? They just want us to die. They are a toothless bull. As a matter of fact, I do not put any much stock on the United Nations because a lot of people have said they should dissolve it because it is not serving any purpose. It is not helping. It cannot give orders in Ukraine. It cannot give orders in Israel. Israel went to United Nations and tore right there in front of United Nations, tore the orders that they gave them to stop the war. So what do we expect from them? They are a toothless bull. They use people. I think that those women who came there were spies. I'm going to say it as I see it. They are
Well,
spies.
what those
They
women
want
do,
to see.
remember in that meeting we had with them, we asked them, I actually posed the question myself, and I asked, are you going to, because they said, remember the mission was they are going to Menji in the BLM to do a kind of a situation assessment to know whatever they want to do after. But I asked them, are you going to Menji to distribute food, or what are you going to do? They said, no, food is not part of it. It was then I thought, then it should be a different mission. They are just going there for the same mission of normalcy that La Republic is preaching everywhere. And I was shocked. I was shocked, and it even made my doubts realistic when they said, no, we cannot call it war, we cannot call it conflict, you know. And I said, oh, you cannot call it war, you cannot call it conflict, then you will stay out of AMBAZONIA because they are essentially accomplices. Then they came in with an argument. You know, we are apolitical, we are independent groups, but they are the organization. Dr. Atienjo, every United Nations agency reports to the political leadership. Am I wrong? And how can they tell us they are independent, they are apolitical? They'll go around, make their reports, forward to the political leadership. The political leadership takes their decisions from those reports. Dr. Atienjo, come in their place.
Yes, I agree with you, Comrade Chris and Mama G. Good afternoon. It is really, really pathetic, Comrade Chris, because the question is, if there is no conflict in Ambazonia, and if there's no war in Ambazonia, based on that, what the United Nations knows, why are they in Ambazonia? What are
That's
they
a
Mhm,
doing in
question.
Buea? Why do they want to
mhm,
go to Menji? And then,
mhm,
you see, the UN, the various United Nations agencies are working as accomplices to La Republique
mhm,
because this story of no mercy is what La Republique has preached to them and has used its powers as their connections within the United Nations to force these people to write positive reports about what is going on in Ambazonia so that they can go out there. You know, I said in the beginning here, Cameroon is broke. They are in a very serious economic situation. So they are looking for every way that they can cook up a story and get more funding in order to share, the elites of the country to share. So this, I was in that meeting, and I was really appalled by the fact that these ladies could not acknowledge that our people are at war. And if you are do not, it's all controversial because why would you be asking us to give you the passage to go if there's no war? If the place is peaceful, then just go there. Just go to Menji, go to any other place. But you don't just, you cannot come and be asking us to give you a clear passage. What is the passage for if there's no war? Our people are at war, and there's no way that any United Nations agency should be taken there or should be allowed to go to our people because they do not acknowledge what is going on in Ambazonia. And that is the reason why the United Nations has developed heavy feet when it comes to our situation. They do not want to hold the bull by the horn. They do not want to call it a war. They do not want to call it a genocide, even though the criteria for a genocide have been met. The killing of our innocent boys and girls, killing boys, young men, is an indication of genocide. You want to clean up people who are potential fighters or people who can resist your occupation. That is what we call ethnic cleansing, and it is an aspect of a genocide. So I would say here that the decision that we took was the right one for our people because it looks like, I mean, it's not like it looks like our voices, our cry, our suffering, the burning of our villages, the killing of our people, the displacement of our people, and we have refugees in Nigeria, ground one, ground two, or in hundreds of thousands, and also our internally displaced who are in other towns in La Republic. This is a message that is not sinking to these people. They don't want to see. They have turned a blind eye to all this suffering and all this situation, the situation of Ambazonian people, and then now they are saying they are political and so forth and so on. We have a lot of people in Douala. We have a lot of Ambazonians in Yaoundé, Bafoussam, Chang. Why have they not gone there to help these people?
That is a question. They want to go into the BLM, but they leave thousands of the BLMers in Chang, and they will drive past them into Menji that is emptied just to do a report. Now remember who is going there? UNHCR. Tell me, do we have any refugees in the BLM? That UNHCR is going there. We have hundreds of thousands of refugees across the border in Nigeria. They don't even have food. This same United Nations doesn't give them stipends, doesn't give them food. We labor here to raise funds on every day to send to ground one to Nigeria to feed refugees. The job that they should be doing, but they will not. But the UNHCR want to go to Libya, an empty place. WFP, World Food Program, wants to go to the BLM. UNICEF want to go to the BLM. What are they going there to do? When they are passing the real people in need in Chang, they are passing them in Mbunda, they are passing them everywhere. What are they going there to do? If they need to feed Ambazonia, let them take care of those Ambazonia in the refugee camps in Nigeria. We will appreciate them. Let them take care of the over 700,000 refugees in La Republique du Cameroon and those internally displaced in Ambazonia. But for now, we will not dare see them anywhere trying to get into Bamenda, We have instructed the restoration fighters to make sure no United Nations truck, no United Nations personnel try to make it anywhere beyond Bamenda and beyond Buea. I hope they hear me. Margaret, to go ahead there. This is very, very painful that our people, thousands of our people have been killed, and the organization that was created to stop wars tell us for a war that has gone on for 8 years, tell us they cannot even call it war. It's hurting.
Let me say one thing here, Mama G, excuse me 1 second. I just want to put more light on the hypocrisy of the United Nations. When you have the UNHCR, how they are hypocrites. Take, for instance, the situation of the refugees in ground one. These refugees have been, their benefits have been frozen for months now. They used to have stipends every month, but now they have been for months without their stipend received. And the same UNHCR are the people who have done everything to frustrate our refugees, allowing Nigerian authority to raid various settlements for them to gather, to get money, to receive money, extort money from refugees who do not have anything. And look at the recent relocation policy of the United States, where refugees could sign up to relocate from war-torn zones to the United States. The same UNHCR allowed people to leave from safety to go and buy refugee status in Nigeria in order to travel to the United States or Canada for the relocation process. So you can see the hypocrisy of the United Nations and how corrupt they are, and denying what is right for the people, and then choosing but the wrong path in order to deal with politics, taking politics into everything. So these are some of the situations that our people need to know.
You are feeding the
They
baby.
are not deceived by these agents that are out there to deceive them for their own personal interest. Thank you.
Well, the images you see on the screen there were taken as latest as I think 2 weeks ago. That was Chairman Elvis commenter visiting Nigeria. I mean, of course, Elvis is one of us. They have to raise funds on their own to take to Nigeria to feed these people. Now, where you have officially registered refugees under the UNHCR, they take care of the refugees, give them stipends, make sure that their children go to school, make sure they have basic health care. That is what the United Nations is supposed to be doing. You see that happening in Gaza. You see it happening in Ukraine. But no, you don't see it in Ambazonia. Ambazonians deserve just bread. They deserve maybe some paracetamol. They deserve just that. They don't even deserve an end to this war. Can you guys imagine how many times the United Nations is calling for a ceasefire, a ceasefire, a ceasefire in Gaza and in Ukraine? And in Ambazonia, for a war that has gone for 8 years and over 30,000 people killed, they say nothing. Nothing. They can just kill themselves. Let them just kill themselves. Let other people do Cameroon do what they want. Let them kill themselves. Could it be because we are black people, or what? How can somebody explain this to me? That the United Nations, in a war that started only 1 month ago in Gaza, has held Security Council meetings, held General Assembly meetings over Gaza and over Ukraine and Russia. But a war that has been reported to be one of the most neglected, top 5 neglected in Ambazonia, the United Nations does nothing. I hope that everybody on ground zero is listening to the sound of my voice. United Nations, they are not your friends. They are not your friends. They are not your partners for justice. They are your partners for enslavement by the forces in La République du Cameroon, and we forbid them any access anywhere in Ambazonia. Please, Dr. Maji, go on, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, like we said, this war has been going on for 7 years, going 8, and the United Nations knows. From the get-go, they tried to help some of the people in Nigeria. So it is not something that is strange. It is not something that is not known. It is very known. When Anthony Blinken was being interviewed for confirmation, during his confirmation hearing, Ambazonia is one of the wards. He named 3 different people, 3 different places, which he said are hot spots that have to be addressed immediately. Since that day, Nothing has been said about us. Nothing has been done about us, and we are being neglected.
On that
So
note, on
when
that note, on that note, hold on there, Mama Gio. Let me play. Let me get this clip played from the United Nations General Assembly. Let's hear what the UN Secretary General is saying in this clip. Stay put.
You have the floor, Secretary General.
Mr. President, Excellencies, over 100 days have passed since more than 1,200 Israelis and others were killed in the horrific terror attacks launched by Hamas against Israel, with over 250 people taken hostage. For all those affected, these have been 100 days of heartache and anguish. Nothing can justify the deliberate killing, injuring, kidnapping of civilians, the use of sexual violence against them, or the indiscriminate launching of rockets towards civilian targets. I once again demand the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. In the interim, they must be treated humanely and allowed to receive visits and assistance from the Red Cross. Last week in Davos, I had another moving meeting with families of hostages, and in this case, even some former hostages themselves. Since the beginning, I have maintained close contact with Qatari and Egyptian authorities on the efforts for their release. And yesterday, I received from the Israeli mission a list of many of the remaining hostages. It was also reported yesterday that Israel is proposing a 2-month pause in hostilities in exchange for a phased release of all remaining hostages. I will continue in my limited capacity to pursue all efforts to contribute to their release. Excellencies, the past 100 days have been heartbreaking and catastrophic for Palestinian civilians in Gaza. More than 25,000 people, mainly women and children, have reportedly been killed in operations launched by Israeli forces, and more than 60,000 others have been reportedly injured. In recent days, the military offensive has intensified in Khan Yunis, with many additional casualties. The entire population of Gaza is enduring destruction at a scale and speed without parallel in recent history. Nothing can justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. Excellencies, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is appalling. With winter bearing down, 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza face inhumane, squalid conditions, struggling to simply make it through another day without proper shelter, heating, sanitary facilities, food, and drinking water.
I will leave it there. I won't get you through this painful experience, injustice with this speech. But you hear the lamentation out there for the people of Gaza, Palestine. That was at one of the United Nations hastily put together conference to try to bring the situation in the Gaza to an end. I don't know, maybe Mama G and Dr. Atienjo, you are aware of any, even just a regional conference that has been called by the United Nations to weigh into the situation in AMBAZONIA. Is there anyone you are aware of?
Absolutely, I'm not aware of any. Or even a moment that the United States or the United Nations has taken maybe, let's say, 15 minutes to even discuss about the crisis in Ambazonia. It's really very disappointing because it shows the hypocrisy of the United Nations when it comes to issues that concern Africa. They do not take special interest in it. But when it comes to issues that concern Europe and, I listened to the Minister of Finance of India. He made a statement that the time the Europeans will learn to understand that when it is Europeans' problem, they expect the whole world to come in.
Yeah.
And when it is the problem of others, they think that they do not have to get in. into it. I don't know how to put it, but it was put very nicely in order to challenge the Europeans. So, yes, we've not had any time that the United States, the United Nations has committed to discussing the situation in Ambazonia.
Well, comrades, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to dwell on this subject. I have an emergency that I have to take care of. We will come back to this subject in the days ahead. And again, my apologies to those of you listening and watching out there. We cannot take phone calls today because I have to rush out to take care of an emergency. But I think the message has been driven home. The message has been driven home. We are here at the interim government as severing all ties with every United Nations agency on the ground, and our restoration fighters will implement this decision. We need justice. We need peace. We need a ceasefire. If the United Nations want to have access to Ambazonia to whatever assessment, start negotiating a ceasefire. La République du Cameroon has walked away from the Swiss negotiation, from the Canadian on. The United Nations remain deaf and dumb. They said nothing, they did nothing, and all they are trying to do, walk around, get into the interlands, write reports that favor La République du Cameroon. Let me tell you, the saying that until the last man standing is for real. And if it would take all of us to pay for this freedom, for the next generation, for our children to enjoy it, we will do it in spite of what the United Nations think. Thank you for tuning in. I will be here on Friday. God bless you all. Good night.